Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Wandering DM solo game.
Our casual, take it easy, just have fun with it solo game, Paul. I'm so glad we're doing this. Where we
So,
don't put as much effort as in we specifically did this to not put as much effort in the other shows and just
there's
entertain ourselves and take it easy. Remember that?
there's no intro music. There's no loading screen. Right? Doesn't that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
it
yeah.
casual? I have a so. For those of you wondering, we're playing a little Cthulhu tonight, and for some reason, Cthulhu makes me go full LARP. I don't know why, but as soon as I'm told I'm playing Cthulhu, I immediately want costumes and props and just full immersion. It's weird. It's a weird obsession. So there you go.
I don't know
Kudos,
those
kudos
LARP
to Dan
people.
for slapping together a costume at the last possible minute.
I was taken by surprise. I did not know about this until a couple minutes, until about 7:58.
Yeah.
The LARP people. God love them. Gods below love them, and I don't know. Call of Cthulhu. I guess that's some sort of role-playing game. I guess is that what I hear?
Yeah, right. So it's a horror game, historical setting typically, usually in the 20s or 30s, which is what I'm trying to pull off here. So we were talking about what games to play next for our solo session, and I happened to be poking around on the Chaosium website, and I noticed they actually have some solo Chaosium Cthulhu adventures. And I thought, oh man, that's great. We should totally play that. And then the more that I thought about it, the more I thought, actually, Cthulhu's kind of already perfectly built for one-on-one play, right? Like it's already set up for that. What more do we need? So I downloaded the 7th edition QuickStart rules, which I have here. I own 6th edition. I never played 7th. I've played a lot of Cthulhu, and I actually have never run straight Cthulhu before. I've run horror games.
Right.
I've certainly run horror games in a Cthulhu-esque setting, but I've never actually run the system Cthulhu before. Usually because it just doesn't. It's maybe, I don't know, maybe a little more complex than I've wanted in the past. Yeah, I don't know.
I will point out that
It's never grabbed me.
Paul does have his own custom system that he's used for many years, which is wonderful. Which is sort of Savage World smashed with insanity cards, which our friend Max first referred to as Paul Thulu, and then a number of our friends kind of use the same system at this point, which is great.
Now, insanity cards are generic insanity system, which I really love and adore for any kind of game that's going to provoke insanity in your characters. It can be adapted to any system, and I've written some stuff about how to adapt it to different systems, including Cthulhu. We could do that, but I think we agreed that for our first foray, we should play Cthulhu straight and see what it's like. So that's what we're
And
going
I
to do.
wanted to experience that. I actually asked for that. So if
No, I think it's
yeah.
wise. I think it's wise. I would like to play it. Honestly, frankly, I think I've never really given Cthulhu a fair shot. I've always probably just looked at the thickness of the book and went, that seems like too much for me. So the QuickStart rules are very appealing to me. That's the right number of rules for me.
Great.
That's what I want.
Great.
So yeah. So this looks good. I'll also be running the adventure that comes with the QuickStart rules called The Haunting, which is a sort of classic Cthulhu sample adventure that's been, I think, in the back of the book for many editions now. So that's, yeah,
interesting.
that appeals. I read through it. It seemed great. I was like, this is perfect. We could totally play this with one player. So that's what we're going to do.
Great.
But before we get started, we're going to bumble through character creation. Now, one thought I had, Dan, was I think it would be wise for us to establish a character for you that has a sidekick.
Great.
Because we're playing solo, a lot of Cthulhu has a fair amount of like character play, right? There's a lot of investigations usually. Typically, the arc of a Cthulhu game is like heavy investigation up front, a lot of conjecture, and then a quick and violent action towards the end. the typical beats of a Cthulhu game. So I thought it would be useful for you to have a character, another character who's following you around that you could talk to, right? And then I could roleplay. And then also, like, just in case, like, your character goes wildly insane or dies horribly and we haven't finished it, maybe you would want a backup.
Great plan. I'm perfectly down with the henchman, and I'm willing to play 2 characters, or even better to have you play one.
Well, let's start with making one character for you. I think maybe we won't worry too much about statting up the sidekick, but we'll talk about who they are and what their name is and basic personality stuff. Okay, so we're going to be using a bunch of stuff in Roll20 that I've never used before, so I'm also excited about that. Specifically, Dan, I'll ask you to look in the library tab on your Roll20 there, which is actually kind of off screen for our folks. But there's we played. I tinkered a little bit to make sure I could send you handouts, and so there was a test handout of an ID badge in there for you to look at to make sure that you're capable. Can you just click on that just so we can double check that all?
Yeah, works? I have it off screen right now. You want to see it?
Yeah, I do want to see it. Yeah, bring it up on the screen. Great. And then also,
here's the impressive badge.
In some of the it's interesting. It opened in a separate app. That's interesting.
That's an option. There's when you open it up there in the top left, there's an icon that allows you to pop it into another window.
Okay, great. Yeah, that will actually be important. I think also when you initially open it, if you just click on the image, it will open kind of full screen on your browser page. Either one of those are both. Any whatever way you can make it happen, I think that's going to be important for us because some of the handouts will be larger and you'll want to be able to like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll be not this one. This one is. Whatever. It's just a silly thing I found, but yeah, whatever we figure out works best, so that you can manipulate it to see it, so that you can read it, and that the folks at home can see it.
Makes sense.
This is just a random prop I just found. You don't have to play this character. This was just a test to make sure the handouts work. Now you should also see a characters section above that, and a character named Dan. Hopefully.
I don't. So in the journal section, I actually don't see that. You might need to share it with me, maybe?
Yep. Yes. Let's see. This has got to be... How do I do this? Show to players, maybe? Show to everyone. Let's try that.
Yeah, just showed up over here.
Great. And can you go to the... Is there a character sheet tab? No, there's not. How do
there's not.
I give this... Let me hit edit, and in players journals, all players can be edited and controlled by all players. Let's do that. Okay. Hopefully now. Yeah. Okay. So this is Roll20's Call of Cthulhu 7th edition character sheet, which does a whole bunch of stuff for us, which I think is pretty great.
Pull that up here. Lovely.
So you're going to want to hit that top switch on the upper right called Edit Mode.
Mm-hmm.
Great, and we're gonna make your character. Now the setting is 1920s Boston.
Gotcha. Great.
Which is very appropriate. We met in Metro West Boston. We worked together.
We did.
Cambridge. So
yeah, we did.
Very appropriate for us.
We walked. Had to bus into Harvard Yard all the time.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to quickly flip through blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of stuff in the intro rules about you've never roleplayed before. We don't need that nonsense. All right. So this is going to be a little different, I think, for you, Dan, because I think you and I are both used to, in our fantasy games, of sort of letting dice rolls and randomness kind of dictate our character, right? Like, come in kind of blank slate and let the game create the character for us. Call of Cthulhu definitely encourages the other way around of like coming up with an idea first and then trying to build it. Very much encouraged. Okay, so thematically think 1920s Boston, and they call their characters investigators, and they call them investigators for a reason because they want you to they want to encourage you to play that type of character, somebody who's going to go out and like want to Scooby-Doo a mystery, right? So. Okay, so characteristics. You have 8 characteristics. Strength, constitution. Power is a combination of force of will and spirit and mental ability. Dexterity. Appearance is your charm and physical appeal. This should be just across the top bar, I think, right?
Yep.
I'm hopefully reading the stats across there. I didn't say strength and constitution because we've been playing D&D forever and we know what those mean. Size.
It's interesting.
Sorry, appearance measures charm and physical appeal. Size reflects your investigator's combined height and weight. It's just your
Fascinating.
overall bigness.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
Intelligence is a rough measure of your cunning and ability to make leaps of logic and intuition. And education is how much your investigators accumulated through formal education or the venerated School of Hard Knocks.
Great. Cool.
All right, so
cool.
these are
Yeah.
generally Cthulhu is a percentile-based game, so usually you're going to be rolling percentile dice under a thing, right? The way
Equal count, equal is success.
Yes, I think so. Let's say yes.
Yeah,
Now, what it wants you to do is it's giving us a standard set of scores, and it wants you to allocate them amongst your characteristics.
okay.
And here's what you're going to get. You're going to get 140, 350s, 260s, a 70, and an 80.
So that is 5, 6, 7, total of 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Interesting. Okay, and do that right now, yes?
Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
Well, all right, so we're at the moment, 1920s Boston. So frankly, I'm trying to take inspiration from my family members, actually. But all I'm coming up with is math professor.
I'm going to skip ahead a little bit before you do stats. Then I'm just going to skip ahead again a bit. Scared, blah 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 blah. Occupation. Let's talk about occupation.
Right.
At some point, you'll decide on your character's occupation, and it gives a list of things you could choose from, or it says make up your own. Whatever, it could be whatever you want. And then you choose skills that it would make sense for that occupation to know. Right?
I would like to hear a list of occupations, actually.
Yeah, here's the list it gives us, because you're going to like this.
Yeah.
So antiquarian. So it gives a list of, actually it just gives the list of skills. So it gives you the name and the list of skills, that's it. So antiquarian. Author. Dilettante. Doctor of medicine. Journalist.
Okay.
Police detective. Private investigator. Or professor.
Yeah. I mean, it's the combination of like a Lovecraftian thing plus my family members that were working in Boston at the time, plus me. Like, I got to go with professor. That's
okay. Great, but you should make sure that it makes sense for your professor character to be off investigating strange things.
Of course.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Like maybe there's like a epidemic going on. They're not allowed to be on campus or something. As I do this, as I pick professor and I'm about to like pick stats, like I'm going in the direction of picking stats to describe myself, maybe we do need that how to role play section read, because maybe I'm not actually role playing. Maybe I've never done that right. I don't know. Yeah, great. I've totally taken professor.
Excellent. Great.
I can role play that pretty well.
Yep.
I'm just I'll just point something out. So I'm glancing like out of the corner of my eye. I'm looking at that skill section at the bottom right, and right in the middle there's that prominent firearm skill, right?
Yeah.
But as I glance across it, the first thing that my brain picks up is polearm skills. and you can kind of imagine a Gygaxian role-playing game where the only skills were 20 different polearm skills. It's really, I feel like it's funny. It's the first thing my brain. Oh, but probably polearm skill is the most likely thing, right? So anyway, my skills. Having picked professor, are my skills then locked in? Is there decisions to be made on that, or?
We can interpret, and probably would be interesting. Actually, here you go. Here's the list of skills it recommends, because it says that the choice of occupation influences the selection of skills. There 8 skills get associated with your occupation, and for professor it says library use, other language, own language, psychology, and any 4 other skills as academic or personal specialties. So It's already kind of hand waving and being like, well, here's 4 that any professor would have to have, and then like, well, what are you a professor of?
Gotcha. Okay. So I'll just pick that right now if that's okay. So you said
Yeah, you want
library
to pick
use.
your skills? Yeah.
Right, well,
So what it's
we'll come
recommending
back
is
to
library
abilities.
use, 2 languages.
Yeah.
One is your native language, and one is another language.
Gotcha.
And psychology.
Gotcha. Psychology. Yeah, because I understand people so well. So with language skills, so just own. I guess that's okay. I don't fill that in or anything. I do fill that in, like so. And add a thing, right? How about Deutsch?
Okay.
Deutsch, and then 4 other things. So
Yeah, we're definitely going about character creation a little backwards here, so don't worry about the numbers because we got to do your characteristics before.
yeah, totally understood.
Skills. Okay.
How about I'm going with professor of philology? Is what I'm going with. Philology.
Philology.
Yes.
That is the study of. Is that like blood? Is that
No. That no. It would. Philology. It's the study of language in oral and written historical sources, Paul. It's the intersection of textual criticism and literary criticism and history.
Great. I think it's phlebotomy.
Yeah. It's interestingly, it is the intersection of 4 different things. So that actually gives me a really good idea of what 4 things to pick.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
So is there there's a history? Yeah, great. There you go. History and linguistics. I got some languages. That's good. Can I pick another language?
Sure. I don't see any reason why.
Another language is one of my 3 things. I will pick Latin because I dig that. Textual criticism. What would that be like? Is there any other kind of library type stuff?
So I kind of think textual criticism seems to me like what they're getting at with having your own language as a skill, right?
Okay.
That's my theory. I don't know, right? Like I studied English and my major's in English, right? Like, and that was definitely.
Gotcha.
Literature.
So like Cthulhu Mythos is not an option for me at this moment?
Cthulhu Mythos is not an option. You're not allowed to pick that during character creation.
Okay. Can I pick? I'm allowed to pick a. Am I allowed to pick like a fighting skill? I don't want to be completely without.
You will also get some personal skills after this.
Oh, okay.
That are
okay.
You will also get 4 hobby skills.
Great. You know what? I'll pick up listen. It seems in the ballpark here.
Sure.
So I got. What did I get here? I got history. I get the Latin. I get the listen, and one more thing. How about a cult? Is that seems for a game? I'm gonna pick a cult.
Sure. Yeah.
I've been reading a bunch of weirdo books lately. I think that's good. Okay, there you go. Want me to pick personal skills now, or you want me to go back to abilities?
Let's go back and do your attributes because
great.
Let's get those out of the way.
All right. I'm going to pick my stuff going down. So it seems like now power. Tell me what power is again.
Yeah, power is a combination of force of will, spirit, and mental stability.
All right, I was about to put the highest.
I think power will also impact your starting sanity. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now, once again, right, I play, as you know, Paul, I play role-playing games to win. So yes. I'm coming into this Call of Cthulhu game expecting to defeat. I'm going to try my best to defeat the opposition as well as I can. So I'm going to be strategic here. I'm going to put my highest ability in power.
Okay, great.
I'm going to put that 80 right there.
Great.
Mental stability seems like it could be important. I'm going to put the 70 in intelligence. I'm going to put the 60 in education. Let's see here. I think I'm probably going to use appearance as my dump stat. Put that in 40. Let's see here. I'll put another 60 in Constitution and then 50 Dexterity. Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, so I think that's it, right? So I got 350s, 260s, 140, 170, 180.
You might actually have to type the 50s into those 50 boxes. Okay. I don't know, but I noticed that they're grayed out, so that's interesting.
Good point.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Great. Okay, so now something really quickly to talk about, because of the next thing that the QuickStart rules tell me. Now, normally, in a normal Call of Cthulhu sheet, there are actually extra boxes for this stuff, but because we're playing it on Roll20, it's automated this for you. But typically, each of your stats has a full, half, and fifth value. So it's just the full value, the value divided by 2, and the value divided by 5. Now you notice on the top you actually have roll options, because when you ask, this is their way of sort of having gradations of success or gradations of difficulty.
Gotcha.
So for a hard roll, to make a hard roll, you have to roll under half your ability. And to make an extreme roll, you have to roll under a fifth of your ability.
Gotcha.
And I have no idea what the verbose option is. There you go. That's something. But the interesting thing I noticed with this character sheet is, so if I ask you to like make a hard appearance roll, you can click hard. If you were in edit mode, you could click hard and then just click your appearance stat, and it will just roll the right dice for you and tell you the result.
Let me just try it. Let me just try that right now.
It's pretty interesting, and I recommend. So the dice probably appeared under your character sheet there, but take a peek at the chat log, because you'll notice.
Did I do it? I did it. I actually did it. Holy crap!
Yeah. You'll notice it gives a whole little, a nice little. Dan rolled a hard appearance check, and here's the number versus what he was trying to get, and it's a success. It tells us.
Just to show that over. I'm looking at on the side here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. That's great. That's great. So this is a pretty well done, I think, plug-in here for Roll20.
Yeah, I like the elaborate framing. Very well done.
Yeah,
clever.
Yeah, it's nice.
Go back to this.
All right, so okay, so we've got your primary stats. So let's talk about your secondary attributes. So here's a funny one. There's a luck score, and luck is a thing, and it's, I think, actually just because your window is too skinny, you're missing it, but it's all the way on the right, to the right of power.
Oh, yep.
You might need to widen your. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I don't know why your character sheet is rendering so narrow. It's interesting.
Well, I've framed it to try to fit the screen that we have. It's interesting.
Yeah. Seems like it would. Seems like it would fit though, which is weird.
Yeah, you're right.
Is there an inner window edge there that you can grab that's along the green?
I don't think so.
Okay. Weird.
Nope.
It's weird.
Don't see it.
Okay. All right. Well, problem for another day. Okay, so here's the funny thing about luck. Luck is, I'm told in the book, is to be used only when circumstances demand that it is pure chance, that it is totally out of your control, that I should always prefer to make you roll characteristics or skills. But luck we can use when who knows, and it's just complete randomness. Your luck roll, for some reason, begins at 3d6 times 5. Now, why would they have chosen that mechanism of determining that ability, do you think? I don't have an answer.
It's bell shape.
I think it's weird. Yeah, is that it? They're just going for a bell?
Yeah, they're
kind
just
of
going
weird
for a
though,
bell
right?
shape,
Like,
yeah.
but they're also capping it, right? Because let's see, the minimum you're going to get is 15,
90. So it's pretty close to 10 to 90.
Right. So it's within that percentile value. It's an odd choice. It's the only case where we're rolling 3d6. So
okay. I don't know if that's like that almost feels like a holdover from another
from an earlier edition or something.
Yeah, from an early edition that they haven't wiped out. 3d6 plus 5
times 5. 3d6 times 5.
Right.
Not +5.
This doesn't do that. Good point. Okay, so I'm just, here comes the 3d6. We'll multiply by 5.
Yep. You are not a lucky man.
Yes. Oh, good lord. 30. Well. All right. So once again, so there's even more important. Don't let the DM roll dice. Don't let the DM call for a luck roll. Classic role-playing strategy.
Okay. Magic points, which are unlikely to come up for you, but your magic points is equal to 1/5 POW, and are used when casting spells, powering arcane devices, and magical effects.
So 6. Yeah, okay, and it's already filled in.
It's already done that for you. Okay, great. So maybe it's also...
Should I max that out? It says 10 of 16 right now. It says 10 of 16.
That's weird.
Should I just fill in the 16?
Maybe? Sure. Yeah, it does. It also looks like that's grayed out for whatever reason, which is interesting.
I guess that the 10 would be what if you'd had 50. So based on the original starting 50.
Right. It just didn't auto.
That's why they started that. Yeah.
So we have a couple stats that are based on adding your strength and size together. And that gives us your damage bonus and your build. Is that on the character sheet somewhere? I'm looking at it now. Maybe it's in the combat tab. Yep.
See it.
So, what is your strength and your size are both 50, so that puts you at 100, which is no damage bonus and 0 build.
Okay.
There you go. 0s and 0s. Yep.
Okay.
Great.
Simple.
Hit points are figured by adding size and con, then dividing the total by 10 and rounding down to the nearest whole number. Which it probably is also done for us, right?
11.
11.
Yep. Correct.
Yep. Not the hardiest of fellows, it would seem. Sanity begins at a level equal to your power score.
So I'm sorry. Let's just back. So it's the hit points was size and con divide by 10.
Yeah. Add size and con together, divide by 10.
Okay.
Size and con. That gives you 11. Yep.
Great.
Now sanity, it hasn't for some reason calculated for you because I definitely see both those numbers are gray. And it tells me here that your sanity begins at a level equal to your power score.
Well,
so you should have 80.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, now we get
incredible. I'm the sanest person you've ever met.
Yeah. Okay, so we've discussed that you're a professor, and you've chosen your 8 professional skills. Yes. Any thoughts at this point as to maybe who your sidekick is?
Oh, good lord. Well, obviously my sidekick is my teaching assistant.
Excellent. Your TA. Okay.
Who is...
Is he also a bookworm? Is it Bookworm Jr., or is he strangely different, more capable in the physical side of things?
He is definitely more capable in the physical side of things.
Excellent.
Or she. Or she. You know what? I'm gonna roll a die for this right here. So, all right. So, I'm gonna do 2d6 here, and if it's above 7, it's a gentleman. If it's below 7, it's a mademoiselle.
And if it's exactly 7, it's gender neutral.
It's ambiguous. It's slightly unclear. Yeah, it's either non-binary or simply or simply I didn't pay attention enough to actually ever really notice.
Excellent. Character has no idea, just totally disinterested in that.
Right.
Great. You'll have to come up with a nice androgynous name for your sidekick.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay.
My sidekick's name is. Yeah, we'll get to that.
You're naming your sidekick before you've named your own character. That's brilliant.
That is correct. My sidekick's. Doesn't this always happen in my games? Well, as I wind up spending more attention on the sidekick.
Sidekick is always more interesting.
The sidekick's name is Demi.
Excellent. Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to go into the details of rolling stuff, but there was a thing we missed hobby skills, I think, right? After assigning points, oh no, wait, sorry. Let's assign points. Let's assign points to your occupational skills. Okay. Okay. So again, it's another case of you get a pool of numbers and you're going to assign out to your 8 skills. Okay. You ready for this?
Yes.
You're going to get 170, 2 60s, 3 50s, and 3 40s.
Okay.
Set the skills directly to these values and ignore the skill-based values written next to each skill on the investigator sheet.
Great. So it's a total of 9, just to double check there?
Should be 8, right? 8 occupational skills. 170,
Then I did
260, 350, 340. 3, 6, 7, 8. That is totally 9. That totally adds to 9.
Yeah.
It clearly states, allocate the following values among the 8 occupational skills. Oh, and also, sorry, I missed it. And also the credit rating skill.
Great.
And
Great.
also the credit rating skill.
Okay.
So how wealthy are you?
Great. Not very. Professors, not so much. Not as much. So I'm going to put my language skills way up, is what I'm going to do. You know what? I'm going to role play. You know what? I'm going to role play a fantastical, unbelievable character, and I'm going to put my highest skill into my credit rating because I want to play somebody totally different than anyone I've ever met. Where is credit rating?
Yeah. So Josh was mentioning that it used to be much more nitty gritty than this, and it's possible that it still is, and that because we're playing the QuickStart rules, that they're accelerating us.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true or not. I don't have the 7th edition book. All I've got is the QuickStart rules.
Okay. Where is the credit rating? I'm looking over here at possessions. I was taking a guess at that.
Oh, sorry, I got a chart here. I can tell you.
Here it is. It's under art craft skills. I see it.
Okay.
I'm going to fill in a 70 on that.
A 70 puts you at wealthy, some degree of luxury on the chart of what that means.
I love this game. I love this game. I feel so luxurious.
Excellent.
Bring me my smoking jacket, please, Demi.
I imagine you also hired Demi as a sort of part-time handy person.
Exactly.
Odd jobs. Demi.
Absolutely.
As a poor TA.
Right. Exactly.
Leveraging both your wealth and your social power over him as his professor.
If you could please go fetch these books from the University of Massachusetts library, that'd be great.
Oh shit! Oh crap! Okay, I gotta drill into my brain to use the they them for Demi. I'm gonna remember that.
Yes, right. Sorry, sorry if I've pitched a curveball at us.
Nope, not a problem. It's interesting. It's interesting.
I didn't pick it. The dice picked it. I was not the one. I was actually. You gotta. Admittedly, I wasn't actually the one that picked that. My oracular dice told me that was what was happening.
There you go.
Let's see here. I'm going to say I'm not that great at psychology. I'm going to use that as my lowest score. I have to put 3. Okay, occult seems hard to get, so I'll put that in there. And library use. Well, I mean, that's what I have Demi for. I don't... 3.
That's what you have Demi.
I don't personally go to the library. I tell Demi, you please go to the library. And so that means that I have 50 to put in listen, I guess. And two 60s, so I've put down too many 50s. Is that what I've done? Well, I have 3 50s. I have 3 40s. So I actually have an extra 60 to put in history. I think I got it. So so my 170 was in credit. My 260s are in history and Latin. My 350s are in English, German, and listen, and then the 340s are in library use, occult, and psychology.
Excellent. Joshua is asking if the scenario is set in modern day or traditional 1920s Call of Cthulhu. It is 1920s, hence the fedora. So a non-binary person in the 1920s is certainly a little unusual, and potentially, my bumbling around remembering that your TA is non-binary will be accurate to the people that they interact with. Excellent.
You know what? I'm changing the name. My henchman is named Asuka.
Asuka.
Yes.
That is an interesting name.
Asuka
Where does that come from?
St. John.
Asuka St. John.
Yes.
That's fascinating.
Yep.
Okay. You got your occupational skills down?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. So now we're going to get into your hobby skills. You can pick 4 hobby skills.
All right.
And the values of those are weird. I keep flipping the page the wrong way. These are skills that your characters acquired outside of work. Pick 4 non-occupation skills and boost them by 20%, adding 20 to the skill-based values listed in the investigator sheet.
All right.
So whatever value is already in there, add 20.
Great. Still can't pick Cthulhu Mythos. Is that, I'm guessing?
Correct. You may never,
Okay.
it specifically calls that out, you may never pick Cthulhu Mythos during character creation. It's assumed all starting characters have no knowledge of the Cthulhu Mythos.
Okay. I will still pick the little button on the left for each of these 4 things, right?
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay. Great.
I'm assuming you actually don't know what the button actually means. So,
okay.
That's
It
interesting.
says ride usage check mark. Oh, I shouldn't have checked any of these, right?
You
It's
should have
whether I
checked
used it
any of
during the
them,
game,
because
right?
whether or not you've
Yeah,
used it
got it.
because it's for advancement. Yep, that is exactly what it is. There you go.
Get it.
Yep. Although it has been handy.
Although it was handy, it was handy to highlight what I was modifying.
Yep. Which I think is totally
So there's
reasonable
that.
use of that.
Yeah.
Can you, on your roll options, will you switch back to regular just to make sure it's not lowering the numbers? No. Sorry. Back on the character sheet.
Okay.
Yeah, up at the top.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just kind of curious if that's modifying the numbers. The starting.
No, I think it's just going to modify the assessment of the roll.
Okay. Interesting. Great.
Yeah.
That's fine then.
That makes sense. What kind of fighting skill? So I notice there's 1, 2, 3, like fill in your own fighting skill here. Like, are there particular possibilities or?
There are. Let's see what this has
Like-
to tell me about that.
Perhaps my character, who is now named Simon Clarks, perhaps Simon has studied karate from the exotic East, perhaps.
Okay, tells me here, investigators have 3 combat skills, fighting, dodge, and firearms. 2 of these skills are made up of multiple specializations, such as fighting brawl, or firearms rifle/shotgun. You'll have to decide which specializations your investigator has, if any, during character creation, when you allocate your
Right.
occupation and hobby skill points. Note that fighting brawl skill includes unarmed combat and the use of simple weapons like pocket knives and clubs.
Oh, great.
So it's
So
just
there's
put
other-
fighting skill 1, 2, and 3, huh? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, likewise,
Because I mean, obviously, this is for me to fill in something custom. It seems.
right. I would just stick with brawl and handgun or rifle shotgun. Let's not worry about any of the specialties for this sake of this adventure.
I'm picking brawl because Simon did do some amount of fisticuffs when he was a student in college. A small amount. I did earn the Golden Gloves at Harvard one year. Not to brag. I did go to Harvard. I don't know if I've told you that previously, but
With
golden
a
gloves.
size of
And,
50 and a con of 60 and a strength of 50, that's impressive.
I did fight featherweight. And I'll tell you that I'll tell you that I did do fairly good job in my weight class.
Excellent.
And let's see here. Let's say that I've also picked up. Dodge seems important. Also did some gymnastics. Going through school. So bump that up to 45 for dodge. Probably fast talk. Charm doesn't sound like Simon to me. I did some target shooting. So I do have handgun skill. I'll bump that up by 20. And let's see. Looking for I also tried out for the.
I mean, given the era of 1920s and your character's age, it's possible that you were involved in the Great War in some way.
Good point. You're right. Good point. Yes, I did. Right at the end, I did serve for a year. Right at the end, right before it wrapped up, in the war to end all wars. Thank goodness that it's over, and we'll never see anything like that again. And I'm so glad I have so many German colleagues that I'm in contact with, and we all agree that'll never happen again.
Things are going to get very interesting for your character down the road.
And I was. Well, what is throw? Is throw throwing things or throwing people or both?
A good question. I would say probably throwing things, right? Because throwing people sounds like brawl to me.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with swim. I guess I was on the swim team for a year, so I'm gonna pick swim.
Great. All your hobby skills are very physical. Interesting.
Yeah. Great. Well-rounded.
Excellent.
As a Harvard man, I pride myself on being a well-rounded individual, sort of a Renaissance man, if you would.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, so one of the things that the quick rolls are now telling me, so there gets into some detail here about how to make skill rolls. We talked about the sort of the fifths, the hard and the difficult. And there's some detail here about what to do when it's an opposed skill roll, or there's the concept of bonus and penalty dice, which we can deal with those when they come up.
Sure.
I don't think they're a common thing. But one of the interesting things, one of the mechanics that I really like in here is that there's this notion of pushing die rolls. So anytime you make a skill check, if you fail, you can decide to push the skill. And what that means is you get to roll again, but you have to describe how you're putting in extra effort, and I have to raise the stakes as GM. I have to make failure worse than whatever I was planning.
Okay. Interesting.
I actually really like that. That just sounds so nice to me. I love the notion of you putting me on the spot and saying, I'm going to push it and go, oh crap, now I have to come up with how it's going to get even worse if you fail at this. Great.
Nice.
So just keep that in mind, that you can push.
I will keep that in mind. Push my luck and other skills.
Yeah. And then the last bit it talks about here is the backstory section. So there's a tab on there called Backstory, and it tells us. So the funny thing about that, I'm already, the tone of my voice is already getting very dismissive about the backstory section, but I shouldn't do that. So it says. I'll just read it to you. Take one last look at the skills and characteristics that you selected. With a dash of imagination, you begin to get an idea of who this new character is. You might want to add notes on your investigator's background and personality as you decide them. Who is she really? Where did he grow up? What is her family like? The more time you spend thinking about your character, the more developed his or her personality becomes, and then the more fun you will have when playing Call of Cthulhu. Each backstory entry on the reverse of the investigator sheet should be a short, pithy statement. Don't worry about filling in every entry on the back of the investigator sheet. Just 2 or 3 entries will be enough to get you going. A couple of examples. Born and raised in Arkham. Never without my trusty pistol. Or, science can explain everything.
Great.
So I actually really like that. I feel like, because when I look at the sheet, I'm like, whoa, geez, they want me to write a novel.
Agreed. Yeah.
And so I like that text there of being like, yeah, don't stress about it. Maybe add a couple of things. Maybe you can add more as you play. Short, pithy, whatever. If you can think of anything.
All right.
Maybe you might want to put an entry.
Flunky.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, let's put a little note in there about
Flunky
about
grad student. Are they grad student? I think they're not actually. They're flunky henchmen. Yeah, I like them not being a grad student, but they'd like to be. Maybe they'd like to be.
Asuka St. John. Given that I'm going to have to voice this character, I think in the early parts at least. Tell me about Asuka. What are you already assuming?
Diverse background. Father was Japanese, mother was Irish.
Awesome. I feel like
physically competent.
I feel like with a diverse background and now being in Boston, that this is a fairly international person, and that probably the accent, if any, should be like British or French, right?
Great.
Because probably that's
Absolutely.
where they learned English, right?
Yep. Great. I like it. For me, former indentured servant that is on their own and is currently in not enormously better circumstances by being hired by Mr. Clark's.
Excellent. Okay. Making the best. Asuka makes the best of their situation.
Right. Really more patient than Asuka really has any right to be.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm going to be taking a lot of reviews. Excellent. Okay, got it. Very good.
Let's see here. So I have a background thing here. Meaningful location, spent quite a bit. I don't know if I've told you, but I did go to college at Harvard.
I've heard.
Harvard graduate.
This is what I've heard.
Yeah. Now I'm not teaching at Harvard. Now I need another college that existed in the 1920s in Boston.
Man. Was MIT around yet? Was Northeastern maybe?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Oh, geez, I'm slumming. Simon's real slumming it by teaching at Northeastern. That's in character. I don't mean Dan doesn't believe that at all. Just to be clear, how the hell do you see? Now here we are Googling colleges in Boston in 1920, founded before 1920. I don't know if you see
was established in 1898.
Oh, great,
1898
perfect.
for Northeastern. You're good.
All right.
You're good.
Teach at Northeastern. I'm just slightly bent out of shape over that fact. I'm like,
Great.
Great. I might come up with some other stuff. I might come up with possibly some other stuff later on. Okay, so personal description: slim, has a beard, and slightly crazy look. But remember, Simon is the most sane person you've ever met, so you should keep that in mind. Yes, that's good. My phobias include disembodied eyeballs.
Oh, I wouldn't.
No,
you may develop those phobias and.
Okay. Don't worry. No, perfectly sane.
That might be a thing that comes up later.
You know what? That's stupid. That was a bad. I don't know why I said that. Oh, I'm bad at this kind of thing. Usually, so as Paul said at the outset, usually this is the kind of stuff we find in play. So I'm actually not good at this kind of backstory type stuff.
I mean, I think you've already got plenty of stuff.
Okay.
Right? What have you got? You got slim beard, crazy look. You've got a TA.
Yeah, I wiped that out. I wiped the crazy look doesn't fit with my other other things that I'm saying. Okay. But I wiped that out.
Any core ideological beliefs? Any is this a religious person? Is he an atheist? Is he
totally an atheist. Believes that social sciences count as hard sciences.
Excellent.
And believes in Freudian psychology, and that's a well-founded scientific discipline that will answer all of our problems. Do I have the time right? Freud was before 1920, right? I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not screwing that up, am I? Great. Yeah. Great. Okay. So Freudian psychology, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Misspelled belief. Yeah, but that's pretty good. Do have a pipe. I do smoke a pipe from time to time. There you go. I do not currently own any arcane tomes or artifacts. I'm trying to make a joke here without being. Good enough. I think that's what I got there.
Okay, great. Here's some interesting facts for you about I landed on this delightful timeline of events at Northeastern University. We're going to say it's like 1926. That sounds like a good year until I decide that this thing is that I've made a terrible mistake according to the module, maybe. But here's some interesting things. In 1921, the Senate Honor Society of the School of Engineering was organized. The school in 1922, the School of Law and the School of Commerce and Finance started to admit women.
Oh, great!
In 1923, degree granting power extended with exceptions of medical and dental degrees, A, B, and BS. In 1925, Sigma Society, Honor Society of the College of Business Administration, was organized. In 1926, Husky was chosen as the Northeastern's mascot.
Oh, interesting. Oh, fascinating. Yep. Fascinating.
Go Huskies.
Fascinating. I'm gonna say that I have a dog named Husky that was the inspiration for the mascot at Northeastern. But I didn't want it. But I was actually the student. I'm slightly aggravated about being at Northeastern. I actually didn't want that, but there was a student movement to name the mascot after my own dog, and I have a whole double grudge over the fact that happened.
It's delightful.
I'm still trying to get a chair at Harvard. I don't know why this hasn't happened yet. I'm just getting sucked more and more into this place. It won't let me go. Fine, whatever.
Let's see.
Maybe if we could get like a psychology department going here, maybe that would save the place.
Okay, so I am quickly, maybe, hopefully, there we go. Okay, I have added a handout for you.
Oh, great. Oh, great.
The president of Northeastern presenting Husky the First.
Uh,
It's a very, very small
That's my
image because
dog.
it's from the 20s, but there you go. Maybe you're in that photo somewhere.
No, I'm just off to the left. I was
Just
there,
out
and
of
once
frame.
again, I was right. I just missed being in frame. I'm just off to the left.
That's
I was looking in the wrong direction at the very moment they took the photo. That's hilarious.
great, great, great. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Now I got to figure out how the hell to draw your character into this particular adventure.
Should I fill these numbers? So at the top of the sheet, actually, there's a bunch of numbers. There's occupation, age, gender. I guess. Okay, so I know that I'm male. I guess. And it has all 50s in there, which obviously isn't correct, right?
Yeah. Go ahead and put words in there.
Actually, we'll take the 50 age. I don't have anything better. Let's see here. Birthplace. Baltimore. I don't know. Great.
Okay. Ooh, I've gone out of focus.
Maybe wave around where your face is. Wave next to your face. Sometimes that helps. Set. I'm wrong.
We're
Damn it.
out of focus for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. I don't know why it doesn't want to
That's
focus.
strange.
It's weird. That's weird. Come on, camera. What are you doing to me? Making me blurry.
Call of Cthulhu already getting weird.
Let's see. Let's see if I can. I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah, that seems in focus way close up is what it seems like.
Yeah, it's focused.
You just need to shove your face in the camera the whole time.
I just need to. Oh, jeez. I think what I can do is.
So that's all taken care of. So hopefully Paul's going to come back momentarily is what we're hoping. Let me click off on the edit here. And I'm just going to practice rolling some of my skills here. So let's see if I ever have to make a power check. Oh, I shouldn't have wasted that roll. That's a wonderful roll. Yep. Oh, Paul, you're clear again. You're clear again. I was just practicing some dice rolling there.
Just needed to power cycle my camera there. Okay, so great. Okay, sorry, and I'm trying to come up with some reason why your character is gonna give a shit about this adventure. Okay, here we go. Okay, great. I think I know how to motivate your character. Okay, so it is the summer. It is the summer.
I'm sorry. Your audio is a little hot or something like that. Having come back now, your audio is either high or just a tiny bit echoey or something.
Oh, maybe it's. Hang on. I got that.
All right. So once again, a little technical apologies to the viewers here. On the war game a week ago, I had to cut out 10 minutes. Okay, there we go.
Okay, is that better?
You're clear. Now you're real low. Can you turn yourself up? Yeah. Are you doing weird stuff over there?
What is happening?
It's okay. I mean, this is the joys of live gaming. we are all. I'm not happy with how Baltimore is so long.
That's weird. Why is this? Yeah, I can see that it's way low for whatever reason. That's super weird. I don't know why that is. What? It could be the. All right. Now I'm. Oh, and entertain our viewers for a minute, Dan.
Okay. All right. Great. So I've certainly never played Call of Cthulhu before. I think one single time, the closest I got is one of our friends ran a game of like a World War II themed like Call of Cthulhu variant. And I don't know if that had some specific name to that variant or not, but played maybe like 2 or 3 sessions of that. I think is the closest thing I've done, and then. Usually, usually I am a D&D, often TSR game aficionado, so I tend to stick with those games. And when I do happen to get into one of the rare horror type games, it is, with Paul's custom Paul Cthulhu systems. So I'm personally, when the idea came up to play this, I was personally really intrigued to actually be able to say that I'm going to, actually play my first by the book Call of Cthulhu game. And the fact that there is a traditional scenario to go with it, kind of like the classic dungeon that shows up in the D&D DM's guide for every edition over and over again, I thought was really cool. So I was really kind of looking forward to this. Now, at the moment, I'm just not happy with.
Better now.
Good enough. It's a little low, but
still a little low. I'm going to try and just turn up my gain a little bit. That seems that's very odd.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. Better. Okay. Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
That's fine.
That's
fine.
Very unusual. Okay. I don't know what was going on. Okay, great. I changed some things. Some things are different now.
Great. Yeah, it sounds fine.
Okay, great. So, so it is summer. It is late summer.
Yes.
You're about, let's say, end of July. You've spent the summer. This is terrible. There we go. Okay, you spent the summer, however, off as a professor, or perhaps doing your own research projects or what have you, but you haven't had class, and you're spending one afternoon down at the club. I don't know what general societal club you maybe belong to, but you're down at the club and you're meeting for lunch your old friend Henry Knott.
Henry.
Now Henry is currently at Harvard, and so.
Oh, Henry. Yes, I'm well aware. You do not have to tell me again that Henry, makes kind of a thing about it.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Henry is an older gentleman. He has a big white bushy beard, very kind of passé, right? He's a definitely he was too old for the war. He teaches the classics, and he's very known for being very stern with his students. He's the classics professor the students hope they don't get. Okay, so so you're meeting him for lunch, and he sits down with you, and you have a reasonably pleasant lunch, and he brings up the perhaps even he was perhaps maybe a professor when you were at Harvard.
Yes,
he's well established there. Well established.
Right. Henry, how is it going, old chap?
Oh, it's can't complain.
How are things at
Northeastern?
Well, they're all right. I mean, they're all right. We're doing what we can. They had my dog in the paper recently for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. Are you finally thinking about? Yes, indeed. They do things around here a different way. I'll tell you that. Are you finally thinking of retiring finally? And if so, who is in the running for your chair?
You know, I have,
Finally.
it's funny you should bring that up. I have been thinking of retiring.
I'm very interested. I'm very intrigued.
I bought a property recently. I was hoping to rent it out to supplement my income, such that I could perhaps remove myself from the rigors of teaching class. It's tedious at my age. I want to read my books. I wish to, I need to focus on my writing. I think I still have a novel in me.
You should do that. You should. I think you do it as well, Henry. And I think you should totally focus on that and just leave the chair at Harvard empty. You don't need that anymore. It should go to someone else.
The thing is, I'm having a little trouble with the property. It's this place I bought. I suppose that I got it very cheaply. You see, it seems that there was perhaps some kind of incident there in the past. I don't know the details, but I'm having a little trouble getting the keys. I'm supposed to get them on Tuesday. But I'm having a hell of a time getting anyone to list the place and help me find tenants. I'm not sure what's going on with it, honestly. People seem to be... They keep bringing up the former family that lived there, the Macario family. Some kind of tragedy that happened at the house. I don't know. Perhaps if I could find out more about what happened there, perhaps then I could spin it in some way, or find the right person to lease it for me. I was thinking students might like it because it's in a good location and there's many schools about, but I'm having no luck.
That's a shame, Henry. I wish that this could work out for you and perhaps enable a little bit of funds while in your retirement while you're working on your novels. So perhaps if I could be so bold. Perhaps I should do a little. I like this idea of finding some sort of story that the press people can dig into and say, "Oh, what an interesting location, an exotic locale that the students would have an opportunity to visit, to rent." So perhaps if I could be so bold, I would offer my research capacities, and perhaps I could even take my man Asuka up and check the place out and make sure it's shipshape and all that.
Well, that would be delightful. If I could get this wrapped up within the week, perhaps I could even speak to the dean about who my replacement might be for next semester.
Oh, I couldn't. That would be. The thought hadn't crossed my mind that you would mention me in such a capacity, Henry. I am incredibly obliged that you would think of me for such a position.
Well, I would be very grateful for any help in clearing up the matter of this property.
Yes. Well, how about I do that? I'll take a trip up there. I'll look around the papers tonight, and for possible things on that location. How about I take a trip up there tomorrow with my man?
Sounds lovely. It's an old house in central Boston. It's known as the Corbett House.
Very good. I feel like I've heard of it at least once, but I cannot remember.
Oh, it's
in
an
what
old
capacity.
Building. It's yes. I shouldn't want to live there myself, but I think it'd be fine for the students.
Makes sense. Really, I mean, what isn't fine for the students? Am I right, Henry? Right.
They should be focused on their studies anyway.
Entirely. They're fortunate not to be put in a basement in chains. Really, if you get right down to it.
Excellent. Well, when I get as I said, I should be getting the keys on Tuesday. It is. You're having lunch with him on Sunday.
Understood.
So I can get those to you on Tuesday.
All right.
And then anything you can find out before then, of course, would be wonderful.
Absolutely. So I'll spend Monday digging into news articles or perhaps real estate records or something like that. I'll get the keys from you on Tuesday. I'll go right over there with Asuka. Yes.
Excellent.
Let me get the bill. allow me to get the bill here, Henry.
Oh.
I would be happy to get the bill here for our lunch today. I know we don't normally do that, but perhaps today I feel generous.
Well, I'm delighted. Can I offer you a cigar?
I would like nothing more. I would like nothing more, Henry. Please.
Excellent. The two of you smoke cigars and drink some brandy and pass a bit more time together before eventually he excuses himself and he says, "Send your man round my place Tuesday afternoon and I'll get you the keys."
Absolutely. Nice seeing you, Henry.
Oh, good.
As always.
Of course, of course.
Is he gone?
Yes, he leaves.
That old guy, I think he's entirely losing it. I don't. he's been there too long, and he needs to get out. He's clearly he did a novel. I don't think clearly doesn't have that in him. That's a ridiculous prospect. Anyway. Yeah. So that's my plan for Monday. Is I'm going to do. I guess I'm going to check newspaper reports in the last couple of years on what the heck this incident was.
Great. So you
possibly check out historical volumes in the library if it goes further back than that.
I mean, there's of course your own university's library, or you could go to the Boston Public Library. There are various newspapers in town. You could visit the Boston Globe. You could, if you want to look up official records, you could probably go to the Hall of Records.
Okay. Okay, so I do have. So admittedly, I actually do have some library use. So I feel like my first go-to would be. Okay, well, my very first go-to is to pick out the history books that I have at home. So I'm actually going to look at my personal library of a couple volumes of history books of Boston.
Okay.
See if the Corbett House goes back far enough for that, and then my next guess would be to go to the university library.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so you Sunday night you go home, you have your dinner, and you just poke through your own personal library just to see if there's anything that jumps out at you.
Yes.
I'm gonna say that you can make me a hard library use roll.
Not history.
No, not. No, I'm gonna say no. I think it's library use. You're digging through books. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Just click on this. Is that what I do?
Yep.
Just click on this.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I have not succeeded at my personal library. I was close though.
Yeah, I mean you don't have a ton of books at home, and nothing about it comes up. You don't come up with the name. The Corbett House doesn't stick out anywhere.
All right. Great. So Monday morning, I guess. You tell me when you want to jump forward in time. I shouldn't say.
It's totally fine. Yeah. So you want to skip forward? You going out yourself? You bringing Asuka with you?
I'm bringing Asuka with me. Yes.
Or if you want to send Asuka off on other tasks, that's fine as well.
Oh, you know what? That's actually a better idea. So I'm going to the. Okay, so I give Asuka a list of sections and books that I think would be useful at the Northeastern Library, and then I will personally go to the offices of the Globe and ask around for journalists that might know about the Corbett House.
Excellent. Okay, so you head over to the Globe.
Good point. So I've given a piece of paper to Asuka. Look here. Look at this. Look at the stacks. Look at the.
Yeah. You walk in early in the morning into downtown into the offices of the Globe. It's a not a very fancy building. You see a lot of men sitting at desks with typewriters, typing away. Occasionally, there's the jangle of a bell of a telephone. There's a receptionist sitting at a desk as you walk into the building. But you can see it's basically big open layout. There are offices shooting off of it here and there, where more important people perhaps have gotten a private office. But there's like a big central pit, right, with just desks and whatnot, and you hear a lot of noise of typing. And the receptionist looks, tips her glasses with a little chain dangling off of them down to look over the rims at you as you enter. And she just looks. She doesn't even say anything. Just looks expectantly.
Yes. Good afternoon, dear. I am Professor Clerks formerly of Harvard, currently teaching at Northeastern temporarily. And I am following up for another colleague at Harvard on a piece of property in central Boston that has some kind of incident that might have made the paper. So I'm wondering if I could speak with the person that might have written any story about such an incident, I guess at the Corbett House in central Boston, if anybody has a beat that would cover
this
that.
This is the offices of the Globe, honey. This is you're looking for what now? Official records. You maybe want to go to down to the Hall of Records. Something. What are you looking for?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm looking for a gentleman that might have had a beat on odd circumstances in real estate in central Boston, perhaps in the last couple of years or something like that. So, is there any particular person that would have a beat of local color that I could follow up on?
A couple of years. You're talking about. What do you want to just dig through the morgue and find old clippings? I don't know.
Well, I was hoping I could speak with someone who would do that for me. I mean, I wasn't planning on doing it personally. I guess I could have my man do that, I suppose. Sasuke. Anyway, what's your name, my dear?
Nancy.
Nancy. Yes. You've been moderately helpful so far. So I was really hoping to speak to someone that might have had a beat like that about. I guess perhaps I need more specifics. Admittedly, I got to admit, I'm sort of seeing that I've come here with a very vague purpose. So,
hold on a second, Artie, come talk to this professor, would you? You see a gentleman lean out of his office, kind of grumbles, grabs his cup of coffee, comes marching down. What's going on here? What do you want?
Simon Clerks. I'm a professor, formerly at Harvard, temporarily at Northeastern. I guess your name is Arthur, Mr. Jake, stick out my hand.
Artie Wilmot. I'm an editor here. What do you want?
Okay.
What are you
Mr. Williams?
How can I help you?
So I
you got a story you want to write? You want to write something for us? Is that right? No, Artie. No, Artie. He wants to dig through the morgue. The morgue? Are you kidding me? Why would you want to go poking around there for?
No, Mr. Williams. I was really hoping. I mean, if that's helpful, I could have my man do that. But I was hoping I could speak to someone that might have written a story about I'm being told about some sort of strange occurrence at a location called the Corbett House. It's in central Boston, and I didn't know if someone had a beat that would remember writing it. I mean, I really am not fond of going through papers myself, so I was wondering if someone would remember writing a story like that I could speak with. I could have, if it's useful to go through, I guess the morgue, I guess that's what, old copy, I guess, is that what I'm hearing, right? I could have my man come in and do that if that's helpful.
Roll me a persuade check, Dan.
Oh no, I was hoping for a psychology check. I'm going to apply psychology to this individual. Can I do that?
No. Sounds like you're just using rational arguments here. So give me persuade.
Regular, hard?
Yeah, regular.
Oh, sweet. I can do this. No, I can't do this. Nope. I've not done that. So, everything goes... There's an awkward pause.
Yeah. So, reminder that you can always push if you want. Um, but he's starting to look. I don't really have time for this. I got to get back to work. I can't be babysitting you as you poke through old clippings.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Willman, whatever your name is.
Willman.
And
Audie Willman.
What was that?
Audie Willman.
Arthur Willman, right?
Willman.
Willman.
Wilmot.
Willman.
With the T,
Wilmot.
man. Wilmot.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to pleased to make your acquaintance, Mr. Willman, and I will perhaps I'll be back later in the day with my man to go through your clippings that you've generously agreed to share with me. So good day, and thank you again, Nancy, right? Nancy. So I'll probably talk to you later. I'll send my man over for what we discussed. Thank you very much.
Doodles.
And I walk out.
You head out. I realize that didn't go quite as well as you had hoped.
That didn't go well at all. So my next stop. So Nancy had a pretty good observation. Is I guess I should go to the Hall of Records. I guess.
Okay, so you're gonna go over there.
Yeah.
All right. So you had walk. Take a little walk. Head on over to the Hall of Records.
Right. Getting cool today. It's a nice brisk walk. I appreciate a nice cool day. There's nothing like autumn in New England, really. It's really marvelous place to be, and I look forward to the fall semester every session.
Oh, I have foolishly stapled this page in backwards. I'm like, this page is missing. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay, so you head over to the Hall of Records. Again, you're met with a clerk as you enter. This is a more formal government building. You're met by a clerk who greets you as you enter. Oh, hello, sir. How can I help you? How can I direct you?
Yes. What's your name, good man?
My name is Williams. Frederick Williams.
Great. Oh, wonderful name. Are you related to the Williams of Baltimore?
I'm afraid not. It's a common mistake.
Oh.
I'm afraid not.
Oh, growing up, I had a very good friend by the name of Williams.
Well, how can I
contact,
assist you? It's very
anyway.
quiet. You're in a very quiet building. There's not a lot of for a early Monday morning. You occasionally see somebody. Well, you hear the clack of heels on marble as somebody walks down the hall. But it's much more serene than the offices of the Globe.
Yes, so I'm Professor Clerks, and I'm doing a little bit of legwork for one of my colleagues at Harvard, following up on a property that he's recently acquired and seems to be having some small amount of trouble with. So I was hoping I could get any records on the Corbett House that's in central Boston, and see if there's anything that we could do to help or assist or just be generally aware of the condition of the property.
Of course. Let's take a stroll, shall we? We'll look through the real estate records. Come this way.
Absolutely, Frederick. Let us do that.
He leads you down a hall and into a large room with a lot of filing cabinets and card catalogs and whatnot, and he starts sifting through stuff. Why don't you go ahead and make me a library use roll?
Great.
As he, he's helping. He's so this is a pretty straightforward roll here. You're looking for any information. Again, the only things you really know about it is that it's called the Corbett House and it's in central Boston.
Okay, all right. So regular here?
Yeah, please.
I'd really love to make this, please. Oh, I did make it, actually.
Excellent. Okay. Um, so you find some. Do I have something here? No. No.
Should. You know what? I'm going to have my character off screen, and I'm going to have the game. Right. You can see this here, right? That's what I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, that's not really helpful. Okay. Okay. So what you find is you find some records of a home owned by built by a Walter Corbett.
Okay.
It is on Sheaf Street. You find some records of some property transfer records from Walter Corbett's death. The executor was apparently one Reverend Michael Thomas, pastor of the Chapel of Contemplation and Church of Our Lord, Granter of Secrets. And it seems to indicate that so it dates back to the 1850s. Seems like in the that's what I'm looking for. Forgive me here. Not totally on top of it. There we go. 20 Sheep Street is the address. That's what I was looking for.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, there you go. In 1912, the house was sold at auction.
Okay. So these records don't have like situation around the death of Walter Corbett or anything like that.
No, they're very dry, very
Okay. Yeah.
And this is just real estate records that you're looking through. Yeah.
Great.
Is there anything else I can help you find?
I guess that's it. I guess that's all I wanted to know. Who owns it currently? I mean, who owned it up until last year? Was it? So it was sold at auction in 1912, and Henry just took possession of it recently. So what happened in the intervening 14 years?
Looks like there looks like there's some records missing. Let's have another look. Why don't you give me another library use roll as you continue to poke through to try and find out what happened to it between 1912 and 1926 as it is now.
Also success.
Excellent. What you find is it was sold you find another record that says it was sold in 1918 to a family known as the Macarios.
Okay, gotcha.
But then you then find another record that seems to indicate that by 1920 it was vacant.
Okay, great. So I think, Mr. Williams, I think I have what I need here for my notes. You've been extremely helpful.
Yes, you might try the offices of the Globe. A lot of details often make it into the papers of these time periods. Perhaps with the if you looked up, cross-reference the dates and the names, you might find something.
I was there earlier today, and the staff was very helpful. But admittedly, I was rather vague on the dates. So now I'm hopeful myself that I will be able to provide those people helping me over there with even more detail than I had earlier. So you've been very helpful. And I tip Mr. Williams 25 cents.
Oh, thank you very much, sir.
Yes. Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. You've been very helpful. Don't spend it all at one place, Frederick.
Excellent. And you've accomplished all that with a morning of schlepping about the city, and you find yourself ready for some lunch and consider what your next move is.
Very good. So I'm probably gonna meet up with Asuka for lunch,
Okay.
see what he got at the library, and then I'll head over with him over to the offices of the Globe again after that. Is my upcoming plan.
Okay, so you meet up on campus with Asuka, or at your home,
Yes.
or at a restaurant, or
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you meet Asuka?
Actually, at a restaurant. So
Okay.
at a restaurant in town.
Yeah, you stop in at a diner or something like that, and you meet up with Asuka, and let's see. Now I need to make up some stats for Asuka real quick. Let's see. Where did you send Asuka? To the Northeastern Library?
I sent him to the Northeastern Library. See if there are any other historical records about the property. Depending on how far back it went.
Okay. Okay, why don't you just roll me some percentile dice here. I'm going to say that Asuka's library use, because I don't have it, is a 50.
Great.
Just roll me a quick percentile roll and see how Asuka does.
Oh, yes. I rolled a 9 out of 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Asuka, you meet for lunch, and Asuka says, "Well, Mr. What's your character's name?
Clerks.
Professor Clerks.
Yes.
I look in the library as you asked, and I found. Okay, I'm gonna slip into a German accent. I do that too much on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Let's see. I was gonna try and do French, but it's just not coming to me. So we're gonna give him a very tight British accent. I say, Professor, I've found. I did the research as you've asked, and I went through the library, and I didn't find any books of use, but I did quite well when I investigated the cereals department.
Oh.
I found a few. I've brought you a few old, dusty old papers, and he's got a little stack of very old yellowed newspapers under his arm.
Great. Oh, this looks fairly interesting. Let me peruse it, and I'll decide whether this is important to our investigation or not.
All right. So I found this one here.
Oh, goodness.
Here's a this. Do you want to read that out loud?
I'm looking
you want me
at
to read it out loud.
So the one right in the middle, the Weber House, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, let me put on my reading glasses, and it does say, successful local merchant Henry Weber has sold his recently completed Sheaf Street property to one Walter Corbett, Esquire. After falling ill recently, Mr. Weber stated that he felt he would be unable to maintain the house and accompanying estate with his failing health. Mr. Weber only completed the house this past spring, but neighbors are hopeful that Mr. Corbett will be a fine addition to the area. Oh, excellent. Oh, very nice. So this is from...
Let's see, that's H3. Well, this is a very old paper. I can't quite make out the date, to be honest.
All
You
right.
can see that it's quite moldering up here, and it's been kept in a damp room, I'm afraid. But I think it's got to be nearly 100 years old, I would think.
All right. Okay. Interesting. Wow.
Here, look at this one. This one has a date here. I found this. This also mentions that same name, and from that one, let's see. I rolled a 9 on my library use, which is quite good.
You did.
So this here's an old herald I dug up, which also mentions the name Corbett, and that same street name. Oh, here you go. Take a look at this one.
Oh, interesting. I'm looking at what part of it here?
They're in the central column.
This right here.
Yeah,
The neighbors sue.
Yes.
Oh, I do see. Cops Hill area resident Walter Corbett Esquire has had suit brought against him by neighbors yesterday. Neighbors of Mr. Corbett are petitioning to force him to leave the area in consequence of his serious habits and inauspicious demeanor. Mr. Corbett has made no statement in response to the lawsuit. He resides in the Sheaf Street address that he purchased 17 years ago. I see. Very good. So,
Professor, what is the meaning of that
1852.
word serious?
Well, it's an interesting question because people that are not professional philologists may not be familiar with the background of the word serious, and only an expert such as I would be completely cognizant of the fact that it means lacking in, what would you say, authenticity or validity in the essence of origin. So basically not genuine in the vernacular, I would say. Something along that. Some people use it to mean born to unwed parents, but generally not trustworthy or dubious or fallacious. So obviously...
What is this? Serious habits, then? How could one be sued for having serious habits? That seems quite odd, does it not?
I think I might have misread that. I might have misread that and been thinking of the word spurious. Yes, that's a good point. Right. Right.
What do you suppose they meant by having an inauspicious demeanor? What could that mean, sir?
Well, that could mean many things. That could be many things.
The English
admittedly, some people do use the word serious to mean both to mean curious and serious at the same time. But that's more of like I've heard some of my students use that somewhat in jest. Is what I've heard.
Very odd.
I'm not sure what that means. I'm afraid. I'm gonna.
Let's see. Anyway, I see. I've made an extreme success on my library use score. So, I did find. So, based on that, and I was very curious about this lawsuit and how one's inauspicious demeanor could possibly want legal action. So I went digging around for that, and I found one more clipping for you, sir.
I'm very interested in seeing that.
Here you go. It should be visible to you now. Perhaps if you put away that herald,
Right.
perhaps you would be able to take a look at it.
It's so interesting, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. Right. Right. I don't know how to control this. Right, here we are. Right. Thank you. I am so upset. I'm so confused at not knowing a word in the newspaper. Serious. I'm completely out of my gourd, and I'm focused on the wrong thing. Oh, Asuka, what would I do without you, really? Yes. So this is 14 years later, and my goodness, the lawsuit. The former neighbors have issued yet another lawsuit against local lawyer Walter Corbett. This time after his death. Well, this just becomes Seriouser and seriouser.
Indeed.
It seems that even in death, Mr. Corbett is forced to face persecution at the hands of small-minded folk. Seems like it, with nothing better to do than disrupt an old man's wishes. Mr. Corbett's will, upon being filed at City Hall at the time of his death by one Pastor Michael Thomas, was almost immediately blocked by a lawsuit filed by the residents of Copp's Hill. At the time of this writing, Councilman Ellsworth had placed a stay on releasing the information, citing privacy concerns. Mr. Corbett's neighbors first sued him in 1952 in an effort to evict him from the neighborhood, and then he died on June 20, 1866, in his home at 20 Sheepstead in Copp's Hill. He leaves behind no living relatives. Well, this is very strange. How unusual is that, to file a lawsuit against a man who is already dead, who is already in the ground?
Well, I suspect that date must be a misprint, and it must mean 1852, not 1952, surely.
Understood. Understood. Yes, of course.
Oh, but you mean just the very fact that he was dead? Yes, of course. Oh, sorry, I forgot about that. Yes, he's dead,
yes.
and yes, that they are suing his will, whatever that.
Yes. I wish that this paper had gone into more detail about the exact contents of the will. Are you sure that you didn't miss a following page or follow-up article or anything like that? Did you, Adusuka? It would have been very useful to know exactly what the will that was being contested was detailed.
I'm afraid this is all I was able to find. Perhaps we could dig up the will. Perhaps
no shame, Asuka. You've done a passingly good job on a Monday morning. So nothing to be ashamed about. As an amateur sleuth or historian, you've done a passingly good job. So yes, I thank you for what you've accomplished so far. Perhaps you and I should trot over to the City Hall and get a record of the will, which is hopefully still on record.
Well,
would be my idea. I hope that's acceptable to you.
Well, of course, Professor. I mean, it's your dime, as the Americans say.
Indeed. Well put.
Excellent. So it's actually gotten a bit later than I realized it was already. So we should probably maybe wrap up there, and you can continue your investigations next week.
Very good. I think we're on the trail, and in any of Simon's spare time between now and then, he will be looking through the Oxford English Dictionary for what serious. Because that's of everything that's happened so far, the thing that puzzles me the most is that. I did accidentally look up spurious.
That's great.
What the heck is that?
Yeah.
Well done. All right. So there you go.
Okay, cool.
So thank you for this session 0 of the haunting Call of Cthulhu game.
Yeah, we got a little into it.
Nifty.
Yeah. Most of your accomplishments now already accreditable to your TA, which is lovely.
Great. Thank you for running that.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll pick up steam as we go.
Great.
Apologies for moments when I have to bumble about and both remember the rules and the module, but good stuff.
Good, and I think it's good to try a system like as it's actually written at least once.
Yeah,
so
that's why
I was looking forward to that.
trying to. It's funny with investigative stuff like this. I'm often like fighting my inclination of like, well, why am I making him roll stuff? Like, then we're just gonna dead end the story, right? Like,
right.
What?
Right. Common issue.
Yeah. All right. Gonna stop there, and we'll see you all next week. So, good night, everybody.
Good.